Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that many historians don't even touch the subject 9/11.
Exactly.
They say, oh, I think, you know, Bush is such a trustworthy source. It probably was a surprise attack. And I go like, why do you think he's trustworthy? Do you think he told the truth on Iraq? And they go, oh, no, of course not. I mean, Iraq, a dreadful disaster. There's just a lot of lies by Bush and Rumsfeld and Cheney and Wolfowitz and whom. They were a bunch of liars. And I say, didn't you just say that we should trust these people? And they say, well, you know, it's just a gut feeling that you wouldn't kill 3,000 people. And then I say, a gut feeling, is that science? I mean, look at the evidence. We can't just say we take a gut feeling. We have to stick to the facts. And the facts are, these people who were in charge, the Bush administration, have lied. They have lied again and again and again. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Secondly, they're brutal. They're really brutal. I mean, Cheney was writing editorials in the, I think, Washington Post saying why I think it's a good idea to torture.
Yeah.
And his argument was, you know, you need to torture because if there's a terrorist out there and he could kill children and you find, you know, you happen to find his friend and then you torture him, then his friend will tell you where the bomb is. Yeah. Okay, he made this sort of argument.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a very nasty argument. It's just the argument to say, sometimes, you know, it's good to torture. And I always tell my students, take your fingernail, just hold it here. Try, hold your fingernail a little bit. And now try to tear a little bit. Yeah. It's hard, you can't. But if you have tweezer, you could. And torture is if you just tear it all out.
Yeah.
And then think of the pain. And then think of, why could anybody say that's a good idea? That's not how we raise our kids.
No, right.
That's not right. So I'm telling them, they are liars. They are brutal. They attack Iraq, kill 100,000. What has Iraq done to the US? Nothing. There's no Iraqi who went to US and killed them and says, oh yeah, we had to retaliate.
Nothing. It was mainly the Saudis, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Saudis were more involved, but the Saudis have the biggest oil.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's why we always come back to the oil. The Saudis and the Americans have been friends for a long time, okay? And we don't know exactly what the Saudis did on 9/11, but we know that Osama bin Laden is a Saudi, okay? And at one time, which is the so-called Afghanistan war, the old one, 1979 to late 80s, the Saudis and the CIA were supporting the Mujahideen,
yes,
which are the militant Muslims, because they wanted to defeat the Soviet Union. And, you know, some people today come along and say, what? Did they create Al-Qaeda? The CIA created it? Like students, you know, 20 years old, never heard anything of the world before, just watched football. Now they come to university and they start to research these things. And then I say, yes, you know, the idea was the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah. So they used militant Muslims in Afghanistan and defeated the Soviet Union. Yes. They thought it was a splendid idea. Later, these militant Muslims, okay, they were armed, and they, you know, they just went on to Bosnia and fought on the war there. Yeah. And later you found them in Libya. Now you have them in Syria. Yeah. They are militant. It's a problem. There's
Madeleine Albright has also admitted it, hasn't she?
Yeah.
That actually it was funded and created by the CIA.
Yes, that's a fact now.
Yeah.